two different materials that kind of drive the idea of the barndominium, and one is pre-engineered metal buildings that Lin Steel Buildings does. The engineering side, we do the foundations for those specifically, and then there is the pole barn, which is really pole framing. It was just used for a lot of storage barns in the Midwest, and that's kind of how it got its common vernacular of a pole barn. But the actual framing method's called pole framing, and it's not a new method, but it is new in the coating world. So the IBC, it kind of references other literature, but it doesn't really truly cover pole framing specifically. So there's still a lot of work to be done in the research and development aspect of codifying pole barns, but the mechanics behind it are pretty simple. So basically with the pole framing, it's kind of hidden in the name, is that you use a bunch of poles and it's a lateral frame. And so what I mean by that is it's essentially supposed to take your wind loading and transmit it along what are called your wall girts. So like traditional studding is vertical, but in pole framing it's actually horizontal. And so that takes your load and transmits it to those poles that then go into the ground. And they're generally pretty shallow, 4 to 6 feet. But the kicker is that it has to be natural grade. And the reason it has to be natural grade is because that's soil that's been out there for who knows how long, 20, 30 years. And that helps to ensure that it's consolidated, which is a fancy word for saying that it's compacted. Yeah. So with that being said, we do see a lot of people trying to do multiple stories inside of pole barns, pole framing. And that's not really what the true intention of those frames are. The 4 to 6 foot embedment length doesn't really give you the ability to put floor loading, vertical loading onto those frames. And so that's kind of one of the things that we're struggling to try and get across to people, is if they want multiple stories, they really should be looking at like steel buildings with a mezzanine built in, or to do traditional stick stud framing.